And again, for me, it's incredible, and I am very humbled by all these people. You can see there's a mix of like some of the best actors from a pro perspective that we have in the country, and people who literally just people in my circle of personal friends who turn up. I am really, really grateful for every single person who has taken their time, their effort, their heart, their craft, and given it to me for any of my projects. I absolutely do not take it for granted. Let's just dive right into it. 7 minutes long. Bro, I don't know where Brian got that soundtrack of people moaning, like crying in the background. But I swear there is someone who sounds like me when I'm laughing. And it's the craziest thing.
Maskini. Ai. Kwani ni nini limuua jamani?
COVID killed her?
Yes. You see, we had more than enough time to stop it. Or at least, could get a good grip on it. I mean, all these things, started in Wuhan. When did it start?
So the first phase was in Wuhan, December 31st, 2019.
December 31st?
Bro, I haven't seen this movie, so it's actually very funny. That's brilliant.
Stop it. Or at least, could get a good grip on it. I mean, all these things, started in Wuhan. When did it start?
So the first phase was in Wuhan, December 31st, 2019.
December 31st?
2019.
2019?
Yes.
December 31st, 2019.
Ati COVID. Si COVID ilimuua.
It's not COVID that killed her.
Terrorism.
Okay. How do you know this?
Si nilikuwa hapo. Okay. Sikukuwa hapo akikufa, but nilikuwa ile time wali invade country.
You were at the border.
What we needed them to do was just give us a few, and then we'd let them through.
Wait. Yo, Tim in this, he looks like John David Washington, doesn't he?
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
You were saying?
I would, let them through. Sisi ndo tuliwatafutia ID na hizo guns zenye walitumia kucommit hizo atrocities.
You sound proud of that. Just how much did the
it wasn't even in my mind, like this bit, in the story and just thinking how we've always been on our own, because to imagine that, you know, this is stuff that I scripted, I wrote this stuff. This story, I wrote it, what? At least 3 years ago. At least. Maybe 4 years, maybe 5 years ago. Right? And to imagine that our lives back then were quantifiable in Kenya shillings, hundreds, thousands maybe, and to see that that is still the case today, that is a very sad situation. I want to say something about the cast in this story. This here is Faith. I am also not sure that Faith has had an on-camera acting role before. I know she's been quite prolific at theatre level, at least at school level. I don't know much from a professional standpoint. And again, for me, it's incredible, and I am very humbled by all these people. You can see there's a mix of like some of the best actors from a pro perspective that we have in the country, and people who literally just people in my circle of personal friends who turn up. I am really, really grateful for every single person who has taken their time, their effort, their heart, their craft, and given it to me for any of my projects. I absolutely do not take it for granted. One thing that I was really amazed by when we did this particular short film was the impact of a character Bible. Because there was a very distinct difference between how seamless it was for me to direct this particular short film compared to the others. Now, for this particular one, I made the deliberate choice to work on the character Bible and to include the character Bible as part of... I really should find a way to show you those photos, because yeah, they are talking directly to what I want to address here. So let me give it one more shot, see if I can find them as I try and carry on with the story. So yeah, but I don't think I can. I can only find them after I'm done with the stream. I don't think. Yeah. Too bad. But I'm gonna include them. I'm gonna include them in the description. So when we met for the table read at the Wasani restaurant at Kenya National Theatre, Kenya Cultural Center. We did, for the table read, we did the script, all right, but we also went through the character Bible. What was interesting for me is we switched around the characters last minute because I couldn't quite nail the exact cast that I wanted. And that is significant because we are gonna talk about that when I come to talk about the particular short film that we never released. But we did have that scenario where, so what you'll see already here is we are talking about a politician, a cop, a doctor, and then of course we have the interviewer. Was there a fifth character? So the person who I had wanted to play the politician couldn't make it for the shoot. And so Ben Teke, who you might know from Njoro Wauba and the like, Teke was supposed to play the cop. And so the role that Tim Kingo plays here was supposed to be played by Ben Teke. But because the guy who was supposed to play the politician, so Tim Kingo was not supposed to be part of the cast, he was just meant to be behind the scenes. So because the guy who was supposed to play the politician, or who I wanted to play the politician, I couldn't get them, we had to pivot, and I asked Teke to play the cop, to play the politician, Tim to play the cop. The doctor remained the same. The interviewer changed. What was Faith supposed to do then? Because I had a different interviewer. Oh, was Faith supposed to be the doctor? Probably. I'm not sure. Either way, that change really disoriented me. It was very last minute. I had bad history with a last minute change, as you'll come to see a bit later. And so I was very, very worried. But on the day of the shoot, I started to realize. So here's another tidbit about me in terms of my approach to directing. As I might have mentioned on a previous stream, you might have heard me saying I have always been very wary of my perceived limitations as far as technical things, production on a technical side is concerned. So what I would always do whenever I have a short film is I would have this group of very technically capable people. I would try to always make sure that I have a team that I can trust. So whether it's with the lighting, whether it's with the sound, whether it's with the cinematography, whether it's with the set design, whatever it is, all the elements that go into making a good quality production, I try and make sure that I have people who are capable in each department. And then I try to sit with each one of them before we get to the production. And for each one of them, I articulate the vision that I have. And then I want to hear that vision back to me in the language that you speak. So if you speak the language of light, you can, you speak back that vision to me in your language, and then I can figure out whether we are aligning or not. Okay? So let me give you a good example of exactly what happened in this case. So James and I tend to be very seamless in the way we see film. I believe we have a lot of similarities in the way we see film and TV. And so when I write a script and I sit down with James, and now we are talking about the cinematography and we're discussing different angles and framing for the shots and all that, we tend to just flow. He will see the same things that I will see, or at least he will see things that I will completely resonate with almost immediately. We rarely ever disagree when it comes to translating script to screen, me and James. James was not available for I think for I'm not sure James really did anything in terms of this particular production. So, and I did not have enough trust in myself to say, okay, I'm going to work out the cinematography myself. So I had to again lean on my technical people. In this case being Brian. Brian, we always have a lot of synergy when it comes to ideation, when we are talking about stories and coming up with stories and creating stories. But we clash a lot when it comes to the technical side and how we see the story translating from script to the screen. We tend to disagree, and that is also good. It's healthy. But so it was quite challenging in this case, because with James, we will usually sit down and we will come up with a short list. In one evening, we'll probably sit through a night and come up with a whole short list. With Brian, it was quite a bit of work, but that's what I mean is we had to sit down before the day of the shoot. Brian and I had to find time to sit down and agree on every single shot, because otherwise that would mean we are clashing on set, which you really don't want to be doing. Also because, and this is the whole point of why I'm telling this story anyway, for me, I prefer to be in amongst the talent on the day off or on the days off. As far as when we are doing principal photography, when we are rolling, I don't want to be worrying about camera angles, lighting. Of course, when we block the set, when we set up everything and the first frames are set, I'll go around, I'll check the cameras, I'll talk to the light person and see what they're doing. It's not like I'll be completely oblivious of the technical setup, but it's not really where I want to expend my energy when we are rolling. I like to be in amongst the talent. And also, I don't know why we call the cast the talent and the crew not talent. But the crew is also very talented. My crew is very talented for sure. So I prefer to spend my time amongst the cast. You'll see in the photos. Again, I'll do a Google Drive link and I'll share that out. And so on this particular day, I actually really enjoyed being in amongst the cast, because a lot of what I was doing that day was just reinforcing bits of what we had done while we were going through the character Bible at the table read. So all those ramblings were to really say the cast for this particular short film, I really have great regard for the way they went about their work. They were very diligent. I could see even in the notes that they had on their respective scripts. It was a good job. It was a really good job.
Terrorists give you to let them cross our borders?
Say 1,000 or 2
each?
No, we were 5 of us, so we share amongst us.
Still the same.
December 31st, 2019, 3 months before the virus got into Kenya. That was inevitable. But can you imagine the number of things we would have done to try and contain it?
Such as?
I don't know. I mean, we saw what the virus was doing in other countries. We could try and stop movements in and out, or ensure movements in and out of here were contained. We could have set up proper testing and quarantine centers to mitigate the spread. We could have invested more in our health facilities. so that we could be sure that they were properly equipped to deal with the massive outbreak if it came to that.
Okay. Well, why didn't you?
Why didn't I?
Why didn't you do all those things? Why didn't you do any of those things?
You know how it goes.
I'm not sure I do.
Well, I deal with a number of these countries, so there's no way I would jeopardize all these by, putting restrictions or travel restrictions. Plus, this entire COVID situation added more zeros to my bank account. So.
Sorry, you do not feel bad at all that Wanjiku is dead and that is a direct result of your actions.
Who's Wanjiku? Who's Wanjiku?
So you're saying the life of Wanjiku is worth to you a mere 200 or 400 shillings?
Oh, jeez.
What was the question?
Do you know what caused the death of Wanjiku?
Oh, no.
But you're the doctor, aren't you?
Honey, I am the doctor, not a doctor. If you catch my drift.
Wow. So how do you feel about the fact that Wanjiku is dead?
Who's Wanjiku? The woman who died. Oh, Wanjiku, the lady who died. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you want me to do?
People die all the time. There, I have seen people die. What did you expect me to do?
Angalia, niko na bibi moja, watoto 4. Unajua nilipanga pesa ngapi kila mwisho wa mwezi na miaka yangu?
I think I have a pretty good idea.
Hata wewe ingekuwa wewe ungefanya.
Hey, nimko mrewe na wewe.
It's crazy. I'm not supposed to be laughing because all of this is like so. It's raw. It's raw because it's all so real with everything that the country is going through at the minute. But take it. What's that speed?
Hey, nimko mrewe na wewe.
But also, when you hear that statement, please remember, when you're sanitizing the former president, he did everything, opened the door to the world that we are living in today. Remember that this, mnataka nifanye nini, was the beginning of where we are today. When you see that in order to produce, you need to obtain permission from men who produce nothing. When you see that money is flowing to those who deal, not in goods, but in favors. When you see that men get richer by graft and by pull than by work, and your laws don't protect you against them, but protect them against you. When you see corruption being rewarded and honesty becoming a service sacrifice, you may know that your society is doomed. Yeah. That is Atlas Shrugged, 1957. That is a sad, sad situation because I didn't even imagine how much truer that would be. Time that I first found that is when Wanjiku died. I'm gonna cast take more. James Riziki is our come on big screen. Well, those are the short films that I have put out.